I'm John Scott, producer of the Fishin' Magazine television series. This week we're at Grand Lake of the Cherokees for the Bass Pro Shops Fall Pro-Am Spectacular. More than 200 of Mid-America's best anglers are on hand for this event, and it promises to be a great one. From opening takeoff to the final weigh-in, we'll bring you 2 days of exciting bass fishing action. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
List of America's great bass fishing lakes would be Oklahoma's Grand Lake of the Cherokees. It's long been one of the favorites of Central Pro-Am anglers, and it's easy to see why. In midsummer, when bass in many lakes are deep and inaccessible, the bass at Grand Lake are shallow and ready to bite. But that's in the summer, when winning weights for Central Pro-Am tournaments on Grand average nearly 40 pounds. As more than 270 anglers from 12 states gather at Grand in early November for the 2001 Bass Pro Shops Fall Pro-Am Spectacular, they know they'll be fishing a different lake, because in the fall, Grand Lake turns mean. In the past 6 years, Central Pro-Am has held 3 fall tournaments on Grand, and the winner has exceeded 30 pounds only once. And in each of those tournaments, the leader on day 1 has been hurled to the mat and humbled by this massive body of water. And the eventual winner has come from out of the pack by catching solid but unspectacular limits 2 days in a row. This year on Grand, conditions are as tough as the Pro-Am anglers have ever seen them. And 2001 Pro Division champion Jackie Davis expects this tournament to be difficult for everyone.
I don't think it's going to take a lot of weight to win this tournament. I think it's only going to take somewhere around 20 to 22 pounds. I want to start out with a jig, and I'm going to finish with a jig. And if I get some bites, then hopefully in a day's time, 5 of them will be keepers. But lately, that's been pretty good. Just going out and catching a limit of fish, 5 keepers, is doing well in tournaments, especially if you do it 2 days in a row. It might not look so good one day, then when you do it again the next day, then it really adds up. And I would take 8 pounds and not even go out and fish a day right now and be happy with 16 pounds.
Another who expects the tournament to be tough is Danny Barnes, who won the Grand Lake Pro-Am in 1999.
It's going to be a tough tournament. The conditions are about a month behind what they should be. I think our water temperature is like 63, 64, and normally it's in the low 50s by now. It's going to be tough to get a limit both days. If somebody can get a limit between 12 and 14 pounds each day, they're probably going to win it.
On the morning of day 1, the Pro-Am anglers revel in the glorious Indian summer weather that has enabled them to fish in shirt sleeves a mere 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. But the warm spring-like temperatures have also produced water temperatures in the low 60s. That has wrecked traditional fall patterns on Grand, and how the Grand Lake bass will react remains a mystery. Toby Hartzell is only 30 years old, and he's already won 4 Central Pro-Am tournaments, 3 of them in the past 2 years. And right here, you're seeing one of the reasons. Quite simply, Hartzell gives the concept of working an area thoroughly a whole new definition. In fact, Hartzell is relentless in his pursuit of bass, as the scratches on his bass boat will readily testify. But it's patience and dogged persistence that have taken Hartzell to the top, and he's not about to change that now. Gary Carrier lives on Grand Lake, so he's a threat to win any tournament he enters here. He almost won the Grand Lake Pro-Am in 2000 and took home all the marbles at the Grand Pro-Am in 2001. So he's definitely one of the favorites in this tournament. Carrier has targeted Main Lake flats and is working them hard with crankbaits and plastic worms. But amateur partner Mike Neal gets things rolling early, fishing a spinnerbait. And if he can keep this up, he's certain to be among the day 1 leaders. Later, Neal comes through with another bass on a spinnerbait. And it doesn't take Carrier long to decide that maybe he needs to change his strategy as well. Before long, he too has added a spinnerbait to his arsenal of lures for the day. Eric Holt won the Grand Pro-Am in 1998, and so far this morning, he's on a roll of his own. Instead of fishing open water patterns or pitching a jig around boat docks, Holt is having success fishing a small, deep-diving crankbait around boat docks to catch bass suspended around them. At the back of one dock, he switches to a jig and gets a strike from a good fish. Unfortunately, it gets wrapped up in the cables and breaks free. By late morning, however, Holt already has 4 keepers, and if he can get one more to complete his limit, he seems certain to be among the Day 1 leaders. Unfortunately for Jackie Davis, the day is going about like he expected. By midday, he's managed to catch only 1 keeper bass, and he's not getting many bites of any kind. Finally, he gets a strike from a good bass, or at least it seems to be. When Davis gets it close to the boat and finds it's a drum, he just accepts it as par for the course today. When the Pro-Am anglers return to Martin's Landing for the afternoon weigh-in, Dexter Stevens takes the early amateur division lead on the strength of this 4.5-pound largemouth. A short time later, it's Mike Neal's turn.
How many we got, partner?
I got 3.
3 bass today. That's going to put you in the lead in the amateur division, or should, unless they weigh less than, well, they got to weigh, well, I don't know, he had 1 good fish. No, he gets him. 6.45 pounds.
Later, when the second flight arrives, Keith Sedberry comes to the scales.
9.75 pounds. Good job, son. That's the new leader right now in the amateur division. Put your hands together, Keith Sedberry.
In the pro division, James Miles takes the early lead with 6.9 pounds. A short time later, 2001 Pro Division champion Jackie Davis comes to the scales.
Get this now. Over $180,000 in career winnings. Huh? All-time leading money winner.
Yeah.
Just won our championship.
Yes, I was fortunate.
Angler of the Year, won titles everywhere.
Fish, they don't know that.
One tournament I know of, you won $100,000 in 2 days.
That's correct, but I'd like to go back there tomorrow and fish.
Won a tournament down here.
Yeah, but that's a different time of the year.
It must have been a different time of the year. Yes, sir. 2 pounds even, our 2001 Pro Division champion, Jackie Davis.
Next is 2001 Angler of the Year, Troy Akins.
Oh, looky there. Got him a limit, Jackie. Here we go. That's all they're going to weigh. You say, come on, all you want to. $10.50 pounds. That's your leader right now, Troy Akins.
Next is Joe Bennett.
Oh, looky here. Going on up. There's your new leader, I believe. Let me double check here. 13.40 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, that's new leader in the Pro Division right there, Joe Bennett. 13.40 pounds.
When the second flight arrives, Craig Torkelson takes over the Pro Division Big Bass lead with this 5.25 pounder. But he has only 3 fish and can't overtake Bennett. Toby Hartzell comes in with a limit, but his fish are small, and he settles into 4th place with 9.95 pounds. Then, Mark Jeffries comes to the scales.
Bass Zone, one of the best websites in America, folks. Y'all looking for information? Look here. Got a big old chunk there. 3.95 pounds. That's second big bass in the Pro Division right now. Think it'll hold up? No, no chance, he says. No, not even a second thought about it. How many you got, partner?
I got a limit.
That's the limit. Oh, looky here. Get out of your way, Pro Division. $15,000 on the line here. 15.10 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, there's your leader, Mark Jeffrey. Say hello to him.
Eric Holt never got his limit, but his 4 bass move him into contention with 10.25 pounds. Yari Schriebvogel does have a limit and moves into 4th place with 11.05 pounds. So does Sean Goodwin with 12.6 pounds. Finally, perennial Grand Lake threat Wayne Diffie comes to the scales.
What's leading it now, Terry? 15. You got him?
No, I got a limit, but it ain't 15.
Ain't 15. Sun comes out tomorrow. That help you tomorrow?
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, it will. There ain't no doubt about it. Sunshine. Whoa, that's a good sack of fish, Mr. Diffie. Boy, I'll tell you what, you're right after him. Nobody's going to sleep good tonight. Diffie's on the loose with 13.10 Won 5 pounds. Go get them for me tomorrow, big boy. Good job.
At the end of the first day, Mark Jeffries sits atop the Lunker Lure Pro-Am scoreboard with 15.1 pounds. Joe Bennett is in second place with 13.4 pounds, but he has only a narrow edge over Wayne Diffie, Sean Goodwin, and Jimmy Davis. In the rest of the top 10, it's tight all the way. Yari Shrevogel leads the way in sixth place with 11.05 pounds, but he has a lead of less than a pound over Bobby Albert, Kurt Evans, Terry Thomas, and Troy Akins. In the amateur division, where no angler was able to catch a day one limit, Keith Sedbury holds down the top spot with 9.75 pounds. He has a 3-pound lead over Ken Kiersey at 6.65 pounds, with Mike Neal, John Kite, and Gary Whiteley close behind. In the rest of the top 10, Bob Jorgensen leads the way in sixth place with 5.8 pounds, followed by Troy Simmons, Kirk Holland, David White, and Thomas Johnston. Stay tuned for exciting Day 2 action. We'll be right back. Fishing My Way. Helpful hints from some of Central Pro-Am's top competitors. At the Fall Pro-Am at Lake of the Ozarks in 2000, Gary Carrier finally won his first Central Pro-Am title. He'd been close to winning before, but he finally came through by having the courage and patience to fish his way.
I tried to fish as many docks as possible yesterday because I knew they'd been getting beat up the last 2 or 3 weeks over here real bad, and so I want to cover as many docks as possible the first day before they got beat up. And I caught quite a few of them off the docks yesterday, and then today I started on them again, and I fished about 3 hours of docks this morning. I didn't do any good, so I changed it up, and the wind was blowing finally, and anytime the wind gets blowing this time of year on those points, then the fish will load up on them. And my, I don't know, third or fourth cast with a crankbait, I caught a 540, and so I knew they were up on those points, so I just started fishing as many windy points as I could because everybody was seen to be concentrating and beating up the docks. I tried to do anything that's different than everybody else. I mean, if everybody says docks, then I'll go fish something different. If everybody's fishing something different, I'll go do docks. To win a big tournament, you about got to do something different. There's too many good fishermen and too much pressure on the lakes.
After a 1-hour pre-dawn fog delay on the morning of Day 2, the Pro-Am anglers are eager to get out on the water, even though they know they're facing conditions as tough as they've ever seen on Grand. And for the tournament leaders especially, this seems certain to be a day that will test their ability and their resolve. Day 1 leader Mark Jeffries heads to the mid-lake area that produced his first day limit. It doesn't take long for him to realize that conditions have changed, however. And it doesn't take much longer for a large fog bank to roll across Grand near Sailboat Bridge. If anything, Jeffries thinks the low light penetration will make the bass more aggressive, but that's not proving to be the case. If Jeffries does get a strike, it always seems to be a white bass. Or, as is the case with amateur partner Ken Schulte, the bass they're catching are too short to keep. Sean Goodwin is fishing his first Central Pro-Am tournament, and so far he's making an auspicious debut. He was in 4th place after Day 1, only 2.5 pounds behind the leader. But with Jeffries struggling, Goodwin is in position to win his first Central Pro-Am title if he can come in with another limit today. He's throwing a spinnerbait and a small crankbait for bass on Main Lake Flats, and he too would have expected the bass to feed aggressively with the fog. But so far, that's not the case. When it comes to Central Pro-Am tournaments, they're starting to call Wayne Diffie Mr. Paycheck. In the 6 Pro-Am events he's fished, he's finished in the money in 5 of them. And today, he's in a position to continue that string. He started the day in 3rd place and returns to the open water rock piles where he caught his limit on Day 1. But when the massive fog bank rolls in, it puts a wrinkle in his plans. Not only are his bigger bass not hitting, he's having a hard time keeping his bearings with most of his reference markers gone. When the fog finally clears, Diffie begins fishing areas where he's caught bass before, but they too are proving unproductive today. Meanwhile, back near Sailboat Bridge, Toby Hartzell is busy working the same 4 docks where he caught his limit on Day 1. Now, in terms of real estate, Grand Lake has more attractive vistas than the one Hartzell is showing his amateur partners. But Hartzell is interested in bass, not scenic views. And so far, his strategy is paying off. He already has 4 keepers on a day when many of the Pro-Am anglers are being skunked. But Hartzell senses he must have a fifth keeper in order to have a chance at victory. So after 5 hours on the same docks, he goes looking for another spot that might hold a keeper. But time is running out. When the Pro-Am anglers return to Martin's Landing for the afternoon weigh-in, Thomas Johnston comes in with 2 fish. But his 2-day total of 8.7 pounds isn't good enough to overtake Keith Sedbury, who's already come in without a keeper. Finally, there's only one angler left who can overtake Sedbury, and that's Gary Whiteley.
One bass today. Boy, that's another one. Big old, is that a big old Kentucky too? You got a belly like Kentucky. 3.10 pounds. Putting right up at the top of the pile, isn't it? Second place right now. Good job, Gary Whiteley.
In the Pro Division, first day leader Mark Jeffries comes in without a keeper, leaving the door open for Jeff Mangles to grab the early lead with 15.65 pounds. A short time later, Sean Goodwin comes to the scales.
You need a little over 3. What's he need? About 3 1/4 to take the lead right now? How many you got?
I got 5. 5 little ones.
Got the limit. Here's your new standard Pro Division right here. Here we go. Here we go. Double figures. You're not going to quite make double figures. Let's wait and see here. Settle down. 9.45 pounds. Here we go. Here we go. All right, now everybody's got something to shoot for. We're going to warm things up now. 22.05 pounds, a new leader in the Pro Division, Sean Goodwin.
Soon it's Bobby Albert's turn.
How many you got? 5. Got the limit with that 4.55 in there, man. Oh, man, you're halfway to taking the lead with that one fish there, Bobby. Looky there, looky there, looky there. Watch out, watch out. 13.15 pounds. 24.15 pounds. A new leader in the Pro Division from Willard, Missouri, Bobby Albert.
Finally, it all comes down to Toby Hartzell.
Bobby Albert leading the tournament right now, 24.15. Can you get him?
Maybe.
Oh, buddy, here we go. $15,700 on the line. Oh, man. 14.25 pounds. Bingo! Mark it!
It's in the record books now. Toby Hartzell wins his 5th Central Pro-Am title with a 2-day total of 24.2 pounds. Right behind Hartzell on the Lunker Lure Pro-Am scoreboard is Bobby Albert, who finishes second by the slimmest of margins, less than 1 ounce. In his Central Pro-Am debut, Sean Goodwin finishes third with 22.05 pounds, followed by Jimmy Davis and Marty Conrad. In the rest of the top 10, Jeff Mangles leads the way with 15.65 pounds, followed by Bobby Sullivan, Mark Jeffries, Bob Kaufman, and Craig Torkelson. In the amateur division, Keith Sedbury holds on to win his 2nd Central Pro-Am title with 9.75 pounds. Fellow Oklahoman Gary Whiteley finishes less than half a pound behind in 2nd place, followed by Thomas Johnston, Dean Post, and Troy Simmons. In the rest of the top 10, it's close all the way, as less than a pound separates David White in 6th place from John Kite in 10th. Stay tuned for tournament winning tips from Toby Hartzell. We'll be right back. Techniques you can use to catch more fish. Brought to you by Ranger Boats, where they still build them one at a time.
I just went to areas I had confidence in and found one that had fish, and I just stayed with it for 2 days. My practice didn't go very well at all. I could just catch one here and one there, and it was 30 miles apart, 40 miles apart, and I just decided to save my running time to keep fishing, and it just happened to work out. I was using Aiken's Pro Model flipping jig, black and blue, with a rattle, and a Zoom Super Chunk as the trailer in blue. I was dragging it most of the time, but at the pile I had to just put it straight up and down or I was hung. I probably broke off 30 jigs during this tournament and tore half that many more up by hitting iron and pipes and everything else, cables. But I was mainly dragging my jig in around the docks. I caught them all out of one pile brush pile behind the dock, which I had to go through quite a deal to get to the brush pile, but I just give it about an hour break, and I'd go back and catch another one, and go back later and catch another one. Just real fortunate to catch my 5 out of that one pile.
The Fishin' Magazine television series is brought to you by Ranger Boats, where they still build them one at a time, so you can fish hard, run strong, and rest easy. Bass Pro Shops, where you get more outdoors for your money. ADM Alliance Nutrition, committed to excellence in animal nutrition. Lunker Lure and Hog Collar, quality builds confidence, and confidence catches fish. Motor Guide Trolling Motors, take on the world. Pinpoint Electronics, find fish where you never knew they existed. And Central Pro-Am Association, the leader in Pro-Am bass tournaments.